Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Dinesh Babu from CSD Department of PVPSIT and my roll number is 60. And today in this seminar, my present topic is Introduction to Data Science. We will know about the introduction to data science, what is meant by data science, how data scientists and etc. will work on. Now, let's go to the next slide to know the contents of the topic. First one, the contents of the topic are what is data science, who is data scientist, what data scientists do, what are types of data scientists, why do we need data science, applications of data science, different tasks of data science. In first topic, when coming to the first major subtopic, what is data science? The data science is an exploration of data in which a person implements the science on the data. In simple manner, it is in a data science is the apply of data with science. Now, let's go to the next topic. What are the domains of the data science and what is data science exactly? In order to know the data science, a person must be well learned in the different domains, and some are domain expertise. He should know the domain of the data he is collecting and using. And next is data pre-processing, which he should do the processing the data to collect the data. Next, he should be well sophisticated in statistics so that he can calculate the deep learning algorithms, etc. Next, data engineering. What is meant by data engineering? The first two are the basic fundamentals in statistics and domain expertise. In data engineering, he should know about the data we are working on, what type of data we are working on, and how to convert the data, transform the data, clean the data, etc. Next is the visualization. When creating a model, a data scientist must create a visualization so that he can create a model accurately. Next, advanced computing. The model which we are going to create must be in the well well computed so that it will work efficiently. Next, in data science, there are seven major classes which we need to learn. First one is the domain expertise, statistical research. Domain expertise. In the domain expertise, he should know about the domain in the which business he is using to work on. Next, statistical research. Whether they, for example, let's take this stock market for this one. In the stock market, the statistical research explains about the previous data and the previous data we can take so that we can predict the next given values. Next, data processing. The taken data set will be processed through data processing by cleaning the noisy data, transform the data. Next, preparing the data and data integration, data reduction techniques. Next, what is meant by machine learning techniques? The machine learning techniques are some techniques like deep learning techniques, etc. These are used to do the regression analysis, etc. Next, mathematics. A data scientist must be well versed in mathematics so that he can calculate the exact statistical equation or the deep learning technique. Now coming to the present subtopic, who is data scientist? A data scientist is a person who does the things on the data. What is exactly meant by data scientist? It is simply can be said as the he is a man who does things in data. Now let's go deeper into the topic, who is data scientist? Now, here is the definition of a data scientist. A data scientist is a person who is better at statistics than any other software engineer and better at software engineering than any other statistician. Now, here is the data team that a data team in a software industry looks like. A data team consists of three members: data scientists, data engineers, data analysts. What is meant by data scientist? These are also known as then data managers and statisticians. And data engineers, also known as database administrators or data architects. Next, data analysts are also known as business analysts. In order to become a data scientist, you must be learned in the skill set of the mathematics, programming, communication. A data scientist will be able to take data science projects from end to end. They can help store large amount of data, create predictive modeling process, and present things. This is meant by the data scientist. In order to do this process, data scientists must have the programming skills as SQL, Python, R. Next, in coming to data engineers, the data and engineers must have the skill sets of the programming, mathematics, and big data. What is meant by data engineers? These are the versatile journalists who use computer science to help large data sets process large data sets. They typically focus on coding, cleaning data sets, and implementing the requests from the data scientists. These data engineers helps the scientists in order to process the information. The data engineers works on the programming languages like Hadoop, NoSQL, and Python. Next, data analysts. Data analysts are also known as business analysts. The skills they need is statistics, communication, business knowledge. Now, what is meant by data analyst? They typically help people across the company to understand the queries and with charts. Uh, Whenever we create a model, we need to analyze the model and what is the accuracy of the model and what how much it will affect in the outside scale. We must represent it to the company, and data analysts do the process of that work. The programming skills they need are Excel, Tableau, SQL. Now here is a funny slide about how data scientists work. A data scientist, in a data scientist's life, his friends, in his point of view, he is thinking that his friends thinks something like that, and his mother also thinks something about him, and society also thinks something about him, his boss also thinks something about him. But he thinks about the coding and what he should do. But what he actually does is the problem solving and creating social impacts. Creating social impact. This is the main keyword of the data scientist. Nowadays, the revolution of the data scientists has been in the peaks because of the social impact of data scientists in the society. Now, what data scientists do? This is the major content of the topic. What data scientists do? A data scientist works on typical process like understanding the data and collect and exploring the data, prepare and processing the data, build and validate the models, deploy and monitor the performance. What is meant by understanding the business? The data scientist must understand the business business domains he should work in, and what is meant by collect and exploring the data? A data scientist must collect data on the problem statement which he or she has been given, so that he can so that he can work on the data. Next, what is meant by exploring the data? He should understand the data he is going to work on, so that he can create a domain of that knowledge. Next, prepare and process the data. What is meant by prepare and process the data? When working on the data sets, there are so much amounts of noisy data, missing tuples, etc. In this process, a data scientist does the preparation of the data and process the data by removal of missing values, etc. Next, build and validate models. What is meant by build and validate models? A build and validate models is nothing but a data scientist must work on the uh, on building and validation of models, because he should explain the models to the administrator or his higher officials, so how the data work. in the society, and he should build the models, data science models, so that it will create an impact on the society. For example, now let's take the YouTube. In YouTube, nowadays we are having the recommendation options. The recommendation options will be created through the data science techniques, deep learning techniques, and data models. What is meant by deploying and monitoring the performance? Deployment and monitoring the performance is nothing but when we deploy a model in this society, we must see the statistics, like how much the model has been used, what type of impact has it created, etc. Now let's go to the next slide. What does a good data scientist looks like? He must be inquisitive. Inquisitive means he must be curious about this topic. Why? Why the topic came? What can we do about this topic? Etc. Now, knowledgeable. He should be knowledgeable in the domains of machine learning, statistics, and probability. Next, scientific methods. He should use the scientific methods, like creating hypotheses on the problem statement and testing them with the testing the model with the test data. Next, updating the understanding. What he can get through the scientific method is that he'll create his hypothesis and understand the data and update them. Next, he should also be good at coding, like programming, hacking, etc. The most important in coding is the data science nowadays use the programming languages like Python or SQL. Now, product oriented. The data model which we are creating should be on the product, based on the built based on the data product and visualization of the models. Next, domain knowledge. This is the important point of the data scientist. He should have the domain knowledge about the what type of data he is working on, what are the uses of the data, etc. And how we can find out the known unknowns of the data and answer them. No, here is the data science methods which we are going to use in statistics. The statistical methods are sentiment analysis, and time series analysis, data mining, Monte Cloro optimization, deep learning, and multi-level modeling, multi-data imputations, collaborative filtering, survival analysis, and NLP, and pattern recognition. This pattern recognition is used in the mobiles nowadays. So that, have you ever used the face unlock in your mobile phone? The same process will be used in the face unlock, so that you can unlock your mobile. And classification and clustering. This classification and clustering will classify the data into numerous types. What are the types of class labels, etc. And that is where A/B testing. We will test the samples, or we will create a sampling algorithm so that we can test the data. Next, reinforcing learning, principal component and factor analysis, forecasting, knowledge graph. Knowledge graph is nothing but if you are working on a company, the products released, what are the batches, what types of, how much has they been sold, and this knowledge graph we will discuss again in the applications of data science, and I will show them to you more accurately. Forecasting and network analysis, logistic, multilinear regression techniques, score matching. These are all the data science methods. Now, let's come to the slide of domains of the data science which we are using in the society. While traveling, we are using the data science models such as dynamic pricing. Nowadays, we are searching for the location in the uh, pricing websites like Make My Trip. In these websites, they are predicting the price by based on the location and what are the types of hotel they are choosing. For example, if we choose a five-star hotel, and that price will be allocated by that. Now, And next domain is healthcare. One of the major next domain is marketing. In marketing, we, take the example of stocks. In stocks, the data science works amazingly so that they can predict some of the future stock values, etc. In this, they are also predicting the lifetime of value of the customer. Next, healthcare. This is the major subfield of the data science, because here we are using the disease prediction and types of drugs we have used, what are the doses. Based on the data we have until now, we can create a new type of drug that is uh, cures the diseases. That is medication effectiveness. Next, social media. In social media, like Facebook, YouTube, etc., so many social media fields uses the data science. Now, let's go to the fifth one, sales. In sales, we will know about the, for example, go to a supermarket and take a bill slip of them. In that slip, you will see the discount offered and demand forecasting. This process will be taken as the data to the data scientist, and they will work on them so that what type of discount they are offering, how many people has been buying the products from them. Like that, the data science will be used in this process. Next, self-driving cars. What are in automation? There are self-driving cars and drones, pilotless aircrafts. Nowadays, the drones has been mostly used for the security purposes in the border. And self-driving cars, the Tesla's latest model of the self-driving cars has been crazy in the market. In this also, they are using the data science and AI tools. Now, insurance and credits, they claims the prediction of the policy and the risk and fraud detection. For example, when has there any person who is doing the fraud to get the insurance, these data science models will help them. Now, what are the types of data scientists? This topic we will learn more accurately. So, now let's go to what are the types of data scientists. The data scientists are divided into two types. They are data science for humans, the data science for machines. The data science for humans works on the statistical methods like pie charts, bar graphs, etc. And whereas data science for humans works on the consumers output decision. These are also known as decision makers. These persons works in the fields like statistics, political surveys, executives, marketing, product managers, designers, clinicians. These data science for humans can be done by using the process nearly with data analysis, data visualization, data storytelling, data acumen. This acumen is nothing but the understanding the data, business acumen, understanding the type of business they are doing. Now, then presenting the data, because for example, let's take a political survey. In the political survey nowadays, there are so many number of political analysts. They are taking the surveys and doing the processing work and telling the accurate outcome polls, like uh, some polling will be done, and they will, before elections only, they will predict an 99.9% accuracy model that is by presentation and predict outcome. Now, the next is business data science for missions. These will be used to consume data in the form of training data, models, algorithms. These train the data so that they work on model. Next, this can be nearly done with automation, artificial intelligence, ETL, data engineering, software engineering, architecture optimization. These branches analyzes the data and reduce the type of data they are using so that it can increase the decrease the storage of the capacity of the storage of the machine. Now, what data scientists do the most? Here, the data scientists mostly prefer to clean and organize the data, and the next is the collecting the data sets. Next is building the data, and the next is uh, mining data for patterns, and next is other types of data they are doing, and other is refining algorithms and building training sets. This pie chart represents the what data science does the most. Next, why do we need data for data science? Why do we need data science? The data science nowadays works in the every important business field that we are working. For take any sector, there is no sector without the data science now, because we are using the data in every sector. The data science is the key important role which plays in the which plays a key role. It's like a foundation to the data science. No, let's go into the applications of data science. The applications of data science, in the previous slide I discussed about the knowledge graph. Here is a knowledge graph which represents about the brand of the model, and what type of car we are using and what type of segment. This represents the knowledge graph. And next goes to deep learning image recognition. As I have told you, the face recognition of the our mobile phone works with the image recognition techniques. Next, let's go to some other applications of data science in real life. They are, for example, when we are booking a cab in Ola, the data science uses the location and kilometers etc to calculate the price of the uh, cab fare. Now, next is the Swiggy, Zomato. They also use the uh, types of restaurant we have been booking from, what is the distance from them, what how much charge will it be taken, etc. The next is the e-commerce which have been we are daily using in a day-to-day life in the nowadays. For example, let's take an e-commerce like Amazon, Flipkart. They both uses the they both use huge number of data so that they can have the large number of sellers. They act as an interface between customer and the seller. Nowadays they have become the seller itself, so that they can improve the types of data. The main advantage of the e-commerce is they have the numerous number of data. Every transaction we do in the e-commerce will be taken as a data, and which will be used for the data sets and deploying models. Next, for example, let's take Instagram, which nowadays so many numbers are using. In Instagrams, when you get to search option, it shows us the numerous number of humongous number of reels etc based on the content of our liking. Where they get those information? How can they show us our liked interests and recommendations? The main topic of data science is recommending them the product they like. This is used in the data science applications in day-to-day life. Now, here is another applications. The data science use in YouTube. Now we are having the gene options, like as you can see in the above, the YouTube shows the genes of our liked subjects. Like here, the machine learning, academic awards, computer science are my daily using subjects. So it has been recommending me so the number of genes, so that in that top concept itself they will give the videos or the search results. The next is the downloads. Based on what types of downloads, we will also reflect on the gen creation. For example, if your downloads has in the content you like, normally you download the content based on the because you liked it. They take them as a data set and create the model and recommend them. Next is the in Netflix also the same type of has been doing. They have divided the concepts when they are showing the shows. For example, the shows has different genres. They divide them all into the genres and show them. In while showing, they also see what type of movies have you been looking into. what type of videos has been looking. They use them to create a model and deploy them in the Netflix, so that you will get an interesting concept which you want to look in. No, here is the main point of the data science. Data science is not only about machine learning. The data science is not only about machine learning. It has so many number of tasks which we do. And the next slide represents the major tasks of data science. What is meant by tasks of data science? What are the numerous tasks? We will learn in this topic. The major tasks of data science are collecting data. We will collect the data, and what will happen after we collect the data? We must store them, right? That is the next process, storing the data. After storing the data, what must we do? We must do something about it. We must process the data, because we can, if there is any noisy data or missing of values, we must process them so that we can transform them into the clean data. Next, describing data. This is the most important topic. For example, let's take a shopping mall. In this shopping mall, we will use large number of brands. In the brands, what type of shirts have you liked? For example, take Flipkart. When you go to Flipkart search bar and search for shirts, there are numerous number of shirts. They show something to us based on something. If you have ever taken any, they majorly see on first topic, if you have ever taken the shirt from them, and what type of shirt have you taken, what are the features of the shirts, or if anybody has taken a similar shirt. For example, take a, for example, I would like to go to Flipkart and to see a shirt of Indian terrain. In Indian terrain, there are numerous number of shirts. For example, I picked a one shirt. Where, while scrolling down, there is a similar products. Those similar products has been taken because of the description, data description they are having. The same data description these two products are having, and same some preferred these types of. Next, data modeling. Based on all this process, the data model will be created. First, collecting the data, next, storing the data, next, processing the data, next, describing the data, next, modeling the data. Next, first, what is meant by data collection? Data collection. What is meant by data collection? Why do we need data collection? What are the different data collection methods? Data collection tools. No. First, what is data collection? Before going into the concept of data collection, we must know about three questions first. There, what is the goal or purpose of this research? What kinds of data are you planning on gathering? What methods and procedures will be used to collect and store, process the information? First question. This first question explains about the our problem statement or goal of the research. Because, for example, progress, take a process of doing a model on iris dataset. Iris dataset consists of four types: sepal length, petal length, and actual the first problem state, the iris set first purpose is to know about the petal length and sepal width and petal width of the plant called, based on them they must do research on the types of plants so that they can gather the data. Next, what kind of data are you planning on gathering? While planning on gathering the data, we must look into the concepts of business understanding, data understanding. What type of data must we use? Next, what methods and procedures will be used to collect, store, and process the data? What type of methods and procedures? For example, while collecting the data, there are numerous number of methods like data collection methods, like sampling the data and collecting, sampling the data from the large number of data, or take a small number of data set, or do the survey, or interview the person, or what method will you use to store the data? First, while storing the data, there are three types of storing methods. First one is database. This we will learn in the next topic, and process of the information will also be learned in the next slides and of the upcoming topic. Next, let's go to the next slide. Data collection. This data collection uses the statistics, charts, every amount of data they have used. They will use in this data collection and create a data set. Then why do we need to data collection? Here is a mind map of the data collection. Why we need them? We need them to identify strengths in the performance and identify or confirm the weakness, or plan targets and short-term goals, or establish baseline measurements, measure and success of the improvements, monitor process. First point, let's go to into the first point, identifying the strength of the performance. While gathering the data, we will know about different types of data so that we can learn more about the process or the problem statement which we are dealing with. Whether they have the strengths, in what point of view they have the more strengths, or confirm the weakness. What is the weakness of the data we are working on, or what disadvantages does it have? How to overcome them. That's why we need planning targets and at what time we have to complete this model. Based on the data, we can predict them. Next, establishing the baseline measurement. For example, when creating a, we need a baseline so that we can have the foundation for creation of the data set. Next, measure the improvements of success of improvements. For example, when improving the data set, there are processes like decreasing the success rate or accuracy of the data set, etc. This we can also use the data so that we can increase the success rates, or sometimes they may also decrease when the data is inappropriate. Next, we can monitor the process of the problem statement. The next topic is what are different data collection methods. Data collection. This is divided into two types: primary data collection and secondary data collection. What is meant by primary data collection? Primary data collection is as the concepts of surveys and questionnaires, interviews, observing the society on the problem and experimenting the problems on the different phases. And next is the focus groups. The focus groups discuss about the topic in themselves so that they can have the data they need. The next is the secondary data collection. What is secondary data collection? For example, nowadays so many research papers has been in the internet. These secondary data collection uses the online resources, published resources like research papers, etc., and government or institutional records, publicly available data, and past research studies. As you can see in the side image, they show the data available on the, they show the picture of the how the secondary data research methods are. Next, data collection tools. These tools are used in the data collection, which are word association, sentence completion, role playing in person surveys, web or online or web seminars, mobile service or phone service observation. Next, let's go to the next topic: data storage. What is meant by data storage? Now, what is meant by data storage and how we need the data storage? While collecting the data, we have collected a numerous amount of data, and we need to store them in the data storage so that we can access them when we need. The data storing are divided into three types. We will see in them in the why is data storage important? This is the key topic of the concept, and we will learn about the types of data storage in the next slide. Here is the some data storage advantages that highlight the impact on the appropriate solution or an organization. When doing the data collection, we will collect number of data, but we have to store them so that we can access them. First, to secure data preservation, when collecting the data, after collecting the data, we must secure them so that they can be preserved. Data availability and sustainability is also one of the data storage importances and the protection about the data breaches or disasters. For example, let's take an some person hacked an website or etc. The data must be protected so that it can be lost or etc. And faster and quicker data recovery, affordable price points, and flexibility of the capacity options. When in Flipkart, they are giving the offers so that they have numerous number of sellers which sell them in the low price. But when coming to us, we will feel that cheaper for our locality or based on our process because in our locality the price will be higher. Sometimes the price will be higher in Flipkart compared to the our process because of the resources they are having. When compared to the another location, the price will be higher because they are doing a lot of research and maintaining the sustainable price they can offer. But the profits they are having is the huge number because they are doing the work based on their profits also. Now, let's come to the next point: complete safeguarding and process protected files. For example, let's take the bank data. No, not the bank data. It is passports. Let's take the bank data. Where in bank there are large number of data. Customer name, account number, the mobile number of the customer, and how much is the balance. This is the private data which we can be sharing to the public resources like data sets, etc. These must be maintained in password protection formats so that private formats so that nobody can access them unless the permission has been given by the either the customer or the bank, either the customer, the first customer and the bank next. Let's go to the next slide. These are the types of data storages I have been explaining to you. The first data storage is database. A database stores the structured format data. What is meant by structured format data? A structured format data is nothing but the complete. For example, there are numerous number of data like image data, voice data, image data, voice data, text data, audio data. Video data. These data, they must be in the, for example, all the data can be stored in a same file. It will become unstructured. When they have been given in the structured data, they will structure them according to the data type. This is databases. They will store structured data. Next, data warehouses. These compared to databases, these storage spaces are high in number. Their storage capacity is also large. They have the wide range of sources. Next, data lakes. This is a data storage repository. We can store a large number of data, huge number of data, like working on the data and format them until we need them, and format how we need them. How we need them, and which we are using in the raw data sources. For example, the data lake stores the structured and unstructured both. The data warehouses stores the unstructured data. And here is the databases. The use cases of databases includes financial and other data reports, analyzing the small data sets. Next, automating the business process and auditing the data entry. Auditing the data entry means type of data we have taken and how we can use them. Next, the popular database are Oracle, PostgreSQL, MongoDB, Redis, Elasticsearch, Apache, Cassandra. No, data warehouses. These work on healthcare, banking, retail. The popular data warehouses are Snowflake, Elobrick, Teradata. Next, use cases of data lakes include centralized repository for all data businesses, business intelligence and analysis, and data science, data serving. The popular data lakes are Hadoop, Azure, and Amazon S3. Here is the comparison of the databases, data warehouses, data lakes. In what process they have been differed. First, let's take the data. As I have mentioned, the data in the database is structured and data in data warehouse is also structured. When coming to data lake, it is raw and unstructured. Next, processing. It is a scheme on right processing. We can edit the format, and in the data warehouses also we can edit them. But when coming to data lakes, we can only read them. Next, cost of the data cost. It is databases are free or some cost, less amount of the cost compared to different ones. Next, data warehouse costs three times more than the databases. Next, the data lakes costs 10 times more than the databases. Next, agility. The agility varies from one database to another database. The in data warehouses it has been minimum, and in data lakes there has been maximum. Now, security. In databases there is we can say there is security, but it has been immature. The type of security has been less protected when compared to data warehouse. In data lakes also it is immature, but when compared to data warehouses, it has been immature in the security process. The data warehouse is the most protected one. Next, users of the database. Anyone can use the database, but when coming to data warehouses, the business users or IT users can only use the data warehouses nowadays, and data lakes was only used by data scientists. Next, use cases. As I have mentioned the use cases before, the use cases differs from one subject to one subject. The database is used for reporting, analyzing, and automation. In data warehouses, it has been used for machine learning, and data lakes, it has been used in data science and research. Next, let's go to the third topic, data processing. What is data processing? The data processing is nothing but collecting and manipulating the data. As you can see in the picture, the data processing process is collecting and manipulating the data into the usable and desired form. What is the usable and desired form? For example, when taking the data set, it has numerous number of data and noisy data, etc. For example, we must process them in order to get a clean data set or a structured format data. For example, take a language difference. There is a data set in the Korean. I know only English. We must process them and transform them, right? That is the process of the data processing. There is numerous number of some of the missing values or tuples or the noisy data is present, so that it may varies from one attribute to another attribute. So we have to clean them and use them to the desired format and understandable format. Next, here is the data processing cycle. First, what is the data processing cycle? In the data processing cycle, we will collect the raw data, which is done in the data processing step, and from data storing, we will retrieve the data. And next, after retrieving the data, we will use the preparation process to remove the noisy data or unnecessary data. Next process is data processing. Raw data is subjected into various data processing methods so that it can be given in the desired format. Next, input. The input has been taken from some data processing methods are taking the input from the user so that they can be used as a clean format, and that is the data entry has been taken through input from the keyboard. Next, output. The data is finally transmitted. Next, storage. We will again store the data in the data storage like databases, data warehouses, data lakes. Next, here is the data processing cycle. First one, As we have seen in the before slide, the same slide represents the data processing cycle. First, data collection, data preparation, validate or processing the data. Next, process the data through inputs or etc. Next, output. Next, storage. This is the rotation process including the data processing cycle. Next, data description. What is meant by data description? How we use them? The data description, for example, let's say we process data, and with processed data we must describe it. There is huge number of data, and we have to convert them into graphs so that we can know the difference between the, for example, take the stock market. The graphs may differ from second to second in the stock market, so that we have to describe the data so that we can look into the difference between them. The data describing is divided into two types. First one is data visualization. Data visualization is a creation of graphs and statistical outputs like pie charts, etc. Next, data summarization. The data summarization is summarizing the data we will visualize. Now, let's go into the next topic to understand the data visualization. The data visualization, the step one is data. We try and discover the pattern of the trends of the data. Now, the first we will discover the patterns of the data through journalists and data analysts, web producers. These works on these steps, and the software they use is a Google spreadsheet or Excel. The first thing they have to do is make sure your data is coherent from the credible sources. From the and analyze the data. Before we can visualize the data, we need to understand it. The same process as data processing, we have to understand the data. Next, analyzing is the key part of the data visualization. Let's go to the next slide. Next step, the step two is the story. What is meant by story? We need to find the story in the data so that we can know more about them and do the visualization process. There is no story. You need it. If there is a no story, if there is no content you can extract from the data, then you need to find different types of data. And the professions are the same as above slide, but here we use Word and Excel, not Google spreadsheet and Excel. Here we are using Word and Excel. Next, display. Displaying the data, as you can see, there are numerous number of images or representing the data. We use bubble charts, pyramids, pie charts, matrix charts, T diagram, line graph, Venom diagram, bar chart, dotting chart, and donut chart, and scatter graph. The scatter graph is used mostly in the data science to represent the graph values, etc. And word cloud graph areas. The software they use is Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. Next go to the fourth one, designing the data into the graphs or etc. This is the process of the data visualization. Let's go to the last and final step, successfully data visualization. They must have the integrity, interestingness, function, and form. Now, here is the data visualization cycle or steps. First one is identifying the data sources. Next one is extracting the data. Next one is mapping the data, and next upload the data and graphically represent them and save and share the data or report. Next, summarizing. The summarizing the data is nothing but doing the descriptive statistics in unvariable format for the dispersion. First, what is meant by unvariable representations? It may vary from one to another, so that it is not the straight format or the it has large straight format. Next, by doing the mean median mode, we will get a straight format data so that we can use in, this is in the central tendency. Next, dispersion. The dispersion contains of two steps. Yeah, variance and standard deviation. These two processes are used in the data summarizing. Next, data summarizing statistics. As we have discussed in the before slide, the mass center of distribution. The mean is the mass center of distribution, and the mode, the value such the half of the mass is one half, and the other half is on the other side. For example, take the most number of repeated data is also called as mode. Next, median, the most probable value or the value with high density. The medians are the most probable median values or the most probable data with highest density. Next, let's go to dispersion. Here there are variance and standard deviation. What is meant by variance? The mean of quadratic distances from mean. This is nothing but the quadratic distance from mean is the variance. Next, what is meant by standard deviation? The root of variance is the standard deviation. What is data modeling? Data modeling is the process of diagramming data flows. When creating a new or alternative database structure, the designer starts with a diagram of how to flow into or out of the database. The flow of the diagram can be used to define characteristics of the data format structures and databases handling functions and the efficiency support the data flow requirements after the database has been built and deployed. The data models lives on becoming the documentation and the justified for why database exists, how the database were designed. The data model that results from this process provides a framework of relations between data elements within the database as the data guide uses the data. The data models are foundational elements of the software deployment and analysis. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. As you have any queries, here is my contact number and my email. You can connect to me through this process. Now, here is the big data icons. There are numerous number of data. This is also a pack of data. Thank you.